Komm. Also, wir erklären jetzt scientific, warum Männer lieber Frauen spielen als weibliche Charaktere spielen als männliche. Und ich muss gestehen, ich bin auch so jemand, ich spiele lieber weibliche Charaktere als männliche. Tatsächlich. Und jetzt kriege ich erklärt, warum das so ist. Los geht's.
Are you a boy or a girl? A common question that many video games ask the player to answer. But in the world of video games, you don't have to pick the option that matches what's in your pants, leading to many game boys playing as game girls and vice versa. But I'm gonna focus on why guys play as gals because there's not as much data on why women play as men, and because I myself am a manly man who can speak from experience on this. Alright, let's crunch some numbers. Overall, a majority of players like to play as the same gender as themselves. Shocker, I know. What can I say? People love to insert themselves into the video games that they play, and according to my driver's license, gender is a part of your identity. I'm the same way with my very accurate self-insert. Now, I know I probably blew your minds with that knowledge bomb, but let's get a little dirty with the details.
Aber jetzt mal ohne Frage, wo kriegt er diese Zahlen her? Also, sind die irgendwo? Kann man die nachgucken? Okay, will er uns vielleicht noch erzählen.
I'm not gonna bore you by breaking down all of the data that I found, but you can see it on screen here. What I do want to draw...
Krass, es gibt wirklich Zahlen dazu. Wo hat er das her? In general, when creating, selecting a character, what gender do you prefer? Prefer male characters, 48%. Sind Männer. Prefer female characters, female. Aber das stimmt doch dann nicht. Aber das ist doch nicht die Mehrheit, dann sind doch mehr Frauen, oder?
Your attention to is that 29% of males, almost a third, prefer to play as a female character when possible. Meanwhile, only 9% of the ladies prefer to gender swap digitally. Now,
aber es liegt daran, ich mag hübsche Sachen und ich spiele gerne mit hübschen Sachen.
29% is a high amount of men that prefer to play as a female character. So, why is that? Well, much like why I'm never gonna be a famous movie star. There's multiple reasons for that, and I'll be covering them based off of studies and info from my community. And if you're a guy that prefers to play as a gal, let me know why down in the comments. Alright, let's start with the most obvious reason that you're probably already thinking of. Physical attraction.
Ja.
Much like how magnets can pull in metal, so too can a good-looking character model pull...
Ah, Luna Snow. Da hat jemand Geschmack, muss ich sagen. Luna Snow, bester Main. So.
In the elusive male gamer. It's as simple as that for some guys. When given the choice, they'd rather see an attractive curvy woman on screen than a chiseled buffed up stud muffin. Although, nope, don't get distracted by the cake. It's as they say, if I'm gonna be looking at someone's butt for most of the playthrough, I'd rather it be one I want to be.
Das stimmt, und Invisible Woman's Butt ist der beste überhaupt. Und das ist jetzt, also ich meine, das ist jetzt Cloak and Dagger, aber ne.
Looking at. So it's no surprise that this reason was the most voted on in the poll for my community. And honestly, I can't argue with that logic, and there's nothing wrong with that, as at the end of the day, it's just a video game. I know I've picked the female options sometimes just because they're easier on the eyes. And when I was a teenager, I sometimes bought whole games just because a hot girl was on the box art. Shout out to Mr. Mosquito, because I bought that game solely because of this image. And that definitely wasn't the only video game decision that I made because of my hormones. I remember having my parents buy me Mass Effect solely because of the romance scenes that I heard about when my dad left Fox News on during breakfast.
It's made for Microsoft's Xbox system, and it features in some parts of this, you'll see full digital nudity.
So that was a lie.
And
Genau, ich wollte gerade sagen, das ist ja wohl voll gelogen gewesen. Du siehst überhaupt keine Nacktheit. Du siehst überhaupt nichts in diesem Spiel. Verdammte Scheiße. Aber lustigerweise, in Mass Effect kannst du ja als Frau auch Frauen romanzen, aber trotzdem komme ich mit einer Femshap nicht so klar. Also bei Mass Effect brauche ich Male-Shap tatsächlich.
yes, Teen Rave did try to have both Ashley and Liara. Hormonal Rave did not care that she was a space racist, I guess.
It's not racism, not really.
Contrary to some people's opinions online, gamers are people at the end of the day, and most people like looking at someone that won the genetic lottery. See, now you're either looking at Scarlett Johansson or Ryan Reynolds, and not me. Point proven. Now with that in mind, a guy may prefer to play as a female character because that's what he's attracted to. And you can bet that this works in developers' favor too, since hot people can sell just about anything, and devs know this. It's why there are whole games dedicated to thick anime girl jiggle physics, why fighting game characters dress and look like this, and why every conversation with Miranda in Mass Effect 2 focuses on her genetically enhanced assets. Right?
Ja, weil sie halt auch genetically enhanced ist, ne?
rather than her Michael Jackson face. Seriously, they did Yvonne dirty in this game. Not to mention when a big portion of gamers with a lot of time on their hands are teens, it's no surprise how some female skins in games like Fortnite or Marvel Rivals may appeal to the hormonal teenager. I mean, look at these examples. Fortnite is a third-person shooter, so this is what you're gonna be looking at most of the time. So Epic knows exactly what they're doing here. Many teens probably spent their allowance on these skins when they were available. And speaking of which, how expensive are these skins anyways? 2,000 V-Bucks for a Hank Hill set? That's like, $15. Yeah, I'll just stick to the default skins, cause I ain't made of money. Oh, and speaking of Fortnite, I haven't played it in years. So what the heck happened to it? It looks like YouTube kids puked all over it. Now, attraction can't encompass the only
Ich habe nie Fortnite gespielt, keine Ahnung, was ist echt, das ist so übel.
reason, as it doesn't take into account games that are primarily in first person or that have a younger main character. Oh god, I hope it doesn't apply to younger main characters. Speaking of titles with younger playable characters, you ever notice how a ton of YouTube videos about Pokemon have the player using a female character, even if they're a guy IRL? Well, I think that's because of my second reason. Fashion. This one is obviously more
Das stimmt. Man kann Frauen viel hübscher anziehen. Für Männer gibt's eigentlich nie coole Sachen. Why can't we have nice things? Aber das ist auch so, also jetzt mal ohne Scheiß, gell? Also wenn ich überlege, was man, also ich verstehe, warum Frauen gerne shoppen gehen, ne? Warum die gerne Klamotten kaufen gehen, weil Männerklamotten, sind wir doch mal ehrlich, was kriegen wir denn? Was haben wir? Wir haben Hemden, wir haben Pullis und wir haben Hosen. Das ist super. Das ist wirklich, also, und die Hosen gibt's dann auch noch in Blau und in Schwarz und manchmal noch in Beige. Genau wie die Pullover und die Hemden. Und dann sind wir als Männer eigentlich fertig. Also sag mal so, das Coolste, was du als Mann vielleicht noch tragen kannst, ist so ein cooler Mantel oder so. Ne, so als Fashion-Statement irgendwie, wo du irgendwie sagst, boah, da sehe ich cool drin aus. Aber darüber hinaus kriegst du als Mann keine coolen Klamotten, ne? Und für Frauen, für die gibt's halt so viel, ne? Die haben schöne Kleider, die haben schöne Schuhe, die haben schöne Oberteile in 100.000 verschiedenen Ausführungen, die haben Schmuck, die haben, ne, die können sich schminken. Die haben so viele schöne Sachen. And we men can't have nice things. Das ist so, ne? Und dann in Videospielen ziehe ich dann auch Frauen gerne an, weil das ist schön, das sieht hübsch aus.
Objective, but it definitely impacts some people's decision on the character they're gonna play. And I can kinda speak with this on authority. Because as you can see, I only wear the most fashionable of clothing. Now, I can't be the only one that thinks that the ladies are blessed with better style options in video games, right? They just slay in a variety of cute, cool, and fancy get-ups. Meanwhile, the guys mostly get a variety of edgy costumes. Oh, God forbid a guy looks cute. And since this was the second most popular option in my poll, I guess I'm not alone in thinking this. Games like Pokemon, Monster Hunter, and various other RPGs may, in some guys' opinions, just give cooler or more stylish clothing options to females, so they choose to roll that over a guy. Heck, I remember changing my character in Monster Hunter Worlds to a woman just because of the outfits. I mean, look at this, it's like an awesome battle wedding dress thing, or maybe it's meant to be a nun, I don't know, but whatever it is, it's cool. There's something about battle dresses that I just find awesome. Oh, and this fashion reason doesn't just apply to base games. Mods are also guilty of preferring female fashion over dudes' duds as well.
Ja, weil wie gesagt, man kann einfach schönere Sachen für Frauen designen. Das geht einfach so.
For instance, when I was playing Baldur's Gate 3, I found the hair and clothing options to be a bit lacking. So I headed on over to Nexus Mods for some modifications to add some extra options. And oh boy, did I find so few mods for the male characters, but way more feminine-focused hair options, faces, and clothing choices.
Okay, ich glaube, mein zweiter Run Baldur's Gate 3 steht an, würde ich sagen.
And yes, I did see those other mods for the lady models that I did not install and cannot show on screen, but you know what I'm talking about, you freaks. Now, all those extra options almost made me roll a female character, until I decided to play a balding dark urge gnome bard that's named Ganoin. I think I made the right call. Even when there are equal amounts of clothing and hair options for male and female characters, sometimes women's clothing just looks better. It is so true in real life, in my opinion, and I would love to show you some real-life examples, but when Googling, I get the most boring examples. I did not want multiple images of the same jean and shirt style, Google. Thanks. But assuming you go outside and touch grass and go to parties, you know what I'm talking about. Now, where was I? Oh yeah. Dresses and skirts just have so many different forms that can fit into a variety of game worlds like ancient, modern, fantasy, and much more. Yet guy outfits are usually not as flexible for a ton of different fashion varieties. A suit and male armor look good, but there's only so much you can do with it before you get tired of seeing something cool or edgy. Then on top of that, sometimes women just look better in the same outfit compared to men. It's not fair that they can pull off suits and skirts. Meanwhile, my hairy legs would ruin a skirt so badly that I'd be jailed for war crimes. And I'm not Scottish enough to pull off a kilt. Anyways, this fashion bias then bleeds into video games, with female options having more clothing choices that are cool, cute, serious, or just plain old fashionable. So for some guys, they prefer to play a girl character so they can live out their dreams of being able to afford amazing fashion varieties without creating tons of waste and backing underpaid labor overseas. Seriously, quick fashion is awful IRL, but video game fashion avoids all that extra baggage as well as the hefty price tag. And a quick tip for you, donate your old clothing if you can, folks. You get a tax break, you help people, and you cut down on the waste in landfills. It's a triple win. Alright, so those are the visual reasons that a guy may choose to play as a gal. But now let's consider the advantages of this decision that a dude may consider. To explain this, I need to go back in time to the mid to late 2000s, when old school RuneScape was new school, and WoW was at its peak with Wrath of the Lich King. You're a new player walking through the streets of Varrock and you see a guy type the famous line, "Buying GF." And you think to yourself, it's kinda weird to buy a fictional girlfriend, but whatever. Then in WoW, you find some scantily clad night elves dancing their dirty knife-eared models off in Stormwind Capital for gold. And you think to yourself, do guys give girls free stuff in games? And the answer is yes, of course they do. And that's why some dudes play as a chick, so they
Da habe ich noch gar nicht drüber nachgedacht. Das ist ja crazy. Das stimmt aber. Das ist crazy. Verrückt. Ist das so? Also schenken Männer Frauen Sachen in Videospielen?
can get those free goodies from simps that just can't get enough of those polygons. In some cases, the girlfriend bot or the night elves dancings may be girls IRL, or they may be girls or a guy in real life just looking for perks. And for those of you too young to know, that was a real term used back in the day, but we've kind of moved past that. In some games, particularly MMOs, these are some real potential advantages that some male players may pursue, but not the only advantages playing as a female character can have. As it was found in some studies, when searching for guilds or groups, it may be easier for a female character to find one, as a player may have a bias to act more chivalrous or charitable to a potential girl gamer. Maybe just because they want to be nice, or maybe because they want to flirt in group chat, who can say? And that flirtation can also be leveraged if desired to help go beyond
Es ist immer Zweiteres, definitiv. Es ist hundertprozentig immer Zweiteres.
raids and dungeons, but also carry them through harder quests and farming. Now that's not to say that playing as a female character is all loot drops, simps, and free gold, as it can also have the opposite effect of leading to harassment and negative comments by some guys online, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. But assuming you stick to text chat and avoid online shooters, you can at least minimize this, since according to a 2020 study, female players in online shooters receive 3 times more negative comments compared to male players. And really, we all knew shooters were more toxic than those hot dogs you see spitting at gas stations. Seriously, who buys these? But they'll never reach the peak toxicity of Xbox Live on the original Xbox. Ah, good times. Now there's another potential advantage in multiplayer-focused games that a dude could experience by playing as a dudette. Underestimation. It seems that some players view girls as easier targets in PvP-focused modes. And since these PKers can't feel good about themselves unless they're ruining someone's day, they may target female characters. So some experienced male players have taken to using a female model in order to lure other PvPers out. That may overextend because they see a girl as an easier target.
Ist das so das Äquivalent ist das so das alte Äquivalent vom Smurfing so? Du gibst dich als Frau aus, weil du dann denkst, die Dudes denken, du wärst ein leichtes Opfer und dann reißt du sie in Stücke? Ist das, oh mein Gott, das ist ein ganz neues Level von Small Dick Energy.
And I don't agree with this mindset at all. If I see someone in a PvP focus mode, I'm running like it's Ted Bundy themselves, boy or girl. I'm just trying to train my prayer, leave me alone. So next time you see a girl in the RuneScape wilderness, don't underestimate them. Now there's one other potential advantage to using a female model that originally I wasn't going to include, but enough people mentioned it in the poll that I posted that I've got to talk about it, and that's hitboxes. So the idea is that since a
Das habe
woman's
ich auch schon gehört, tatsächlich, dass es bei Hitboxen weibliche Skins, also Models tatsächlich besser sind, weil die Hitboxen kleiner sind und die sind schwieriger zu treffen. Ja, das ist tatsächlich ein Unterschied.
Game model is usually smaller than a man's, that must mean that a woman's hitbox is also smaller, thus making them harder to hit. So some guys will play with a female skin just to get a slight edge in particular video games. Now, is this an actual thing? Heck if I know. Do I look smart enough to be a video game developer to you? But regardless of whether it's a real advantage or not, guys still use it as a reason to gender bend online, so it bears mentioning. Alright, next up I want to bring up a niche region to get in touch with your feminine side in story-focused games that let you choose your gender, and that's voice acting. When a game has a male and female VA, the tone, delivery, and sound of the voice acting is going to be different, obviously. And for some people, in most cases, they prefer the female voice over the male one.
Sounds great.
Games like Fallout 4 with Courtney Taylor as the sole survivor, Cyberpunk 2077 with Jeremy Lee as V, and Mass Effect with Jennifer Hale as Femshep are all amazing voice actresses with tons of people picking the female character because of their performance. Now, that's not to say the male voice actors are bad, they rock the mic too, it's just a preference thing. I mean, when I heard that the female voice actress for the Trooper in Star Wars The Old Republic was the same as Femshep, I had to play as a woman just because of that.
I'm a charming person. What can I say?
Do I sound like that?
As long as I've known you, yeah.
Okay, how many times am I gonna bring up Mass Effect in this video? Obviously, this preference doesn't apply to all players or even cross-alt games for some people, but when a ton of games feature the gruff and tough male voice in game, it's no surprise that some players will pick a female voice when given the chance. Especially if the voice actor is someone who voiced a favorite character of yours from something else. For example,
Ja, also Entschuldigung, wenn ein Charakter von Jennifer English gesprochen wird, dann ist natürlich grundsätzlich der Charakter, den ich wähle, der von Jennifer English gesprochen wird zum Beispiel. Also das ist ja, ne?
Is the same voice as Makoto in Persona 5, Femshep is Bastila in Knights of the Old Republic, and the sole survivor is Jack in Mass Effect. Gosh dang it, I did it again! So if you grew up with those games or are just big fans of them, knowing that these characters' VAs play the main character is gonna hold some weight. So while it's probably not the biggest factor for some people deciding to play as a woman, it still bears mentioning. Now, the next reason is something that I've coined macho fatigue. You know how I mentioned that some players may pick the female character because it's a nice break from the male voice in games where you can't pick your gender? Well, take that and crank it up to 11. When you've got fantastic games like Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War 2018, The Last of Us, and more, where you play as a sad dad that lost a kid and slowly learns to open up emotionally over the course of the game, you may want to play something a bit less testosterone-fueled. So you play as a woman. Now, that's not to say that female characters can't be as violent and emotionally distanced as the male characters, especially when at the end of the day, you control and guide the character, male or female. It's just to say that for some guys, playing as a female gives them a safe environment for them to play a little bit more emotionally in tune. It sounds stereotypical, and that's kind of cause it is, but it is the mindscape of some people. But in reality, it's just a way for them to explore a more emotional side to them by framing it as being a woman. TBH, this group is probably a very small portion, and while it is stereotypical, it does still give them a way to express a side of themselves that they may not show IRL, and could be helpful in a way, so whatever. Games, while fictional, can create real emotional responses where it can help you understand how to deal with grief, care for those less fortunate, or they just really tug on your heartstrings. And if playing as a girl helps people be a little bit more responsive to those lessons, then I'm okay with that.
Ich überlege gerade, hat das dann wirklich so einen Effekt? Also, dass du, wenn du als Mann, als Frau spielst, dass du dich dann traust, eher so deine Emotionen rauszulassen, weil du ja so eine Frau spielst? Das wäre, da müsste ich nochmal reindiven, also so rein psychologisch. Das fände ich jetzt super spannend, ob es dafür irgendwelche, also ob er dafür irgendwelche Belege hat und wie man das rausgefunden hat. Das fände ich jetzt super spannend. Also ich meine, so rein vom Verstand, logischen Denken her würde ich sagen, ja, das glaube ich, das ist bestimmt so. Aber wäre jetzt halt nur so anekdotische Evidenz, ne?
Alright, the last reason is a big one, and it's sexuality and gender. If you didn't know, some biological males are gay or trans,
okay,
and
yeah.
personally prefer to play as a woman character because it just feels more comfortable. And no, I'm not saying that any guy that plays as a girl is either gay or trans.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
You live your life however you want, and if playing as a woman helps you better express yourself, then go for it. What I am saying is that it makes sense and has some juicy data backing it. In a 2020 study, they
Das kann ich
found
mir
that trans
vorstellen.
players expressed that the character creation aspect of a game helped them better explore their gender identity. And many trans women even expressed that their first experience living as a woman was through some digital avatar. And in a VR study, it concluded that 71% of participants found VR social spaces to be more comfortable when presenting their gender identity. You can also be a furry with huge eyes and bazongas.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
As for gay men, an EverQuest 2 survey found that homosexual players were more likely to gender swap than heterosexual players. Games are all about escapism, so they can help people with different gender identities or sexualities truly express themselves. Isn't that why we play video games anyways? To experience being somebody we'd rather be? For example, I don't play Animal Crossing just cuz. I do it to experience being a homeowner, which I'd rather be, but that's not happening anytime soon. Now, I know that I said that that was the last one, but I do actually have one more that I found that I couldn't fit anywhere else, and that reason is comedy and irony. Some guys just find it funny to play as a girl, not because being a woman is inherently funny, but because playing as the opposite gender can be kind of hilarious. It's a trope in cartoons for a reason, y'all.
Well, you know what I think? Who cares what you think? You're a girl now.
What the fuck?
I don't know how to explain this other than saying that some guys just find it pretty funny to play as a woman and joke about how NPCs are just so into them and how they are just so hot and pretty. I've seen plenty of YouTubers make those kinds of jokes and they're pretty funny in context, and I don't know what to say.
And my eye makeup is like running down my face. You know why?
It's like how a girl may play as a guy and joke about how handsome they are and how totally massive their wang is, which I have also heard and laughed with. It's some easy, funny humor, and with a group of friends, it can make a play session even more fun. And those are all of the main reasons that a guy may choose to play as a gal in a video game. But I'm not done yet. Because while there is less data on this, I did get some info from my community on why a woman may choose to play as a man, so let's fire those off real quick. A woman may play as a guy to avoid potential harassment or different treatment, good or bad, just because she's a girl. Or perhaps they too like looking at a nice, attractive model, and for them, a male model fits the bill best. Then again, maybe they just feel more comfortable playing as a man. Or they prefer more cool and edgy looking outfits, and male attire tends to lean that way more. To really summarize it from what I heard in my poll and what I read online, all the reasons that a guy may play as a gal are the same reasons that a gal may play as a guy.
Shocking, huh?
But for some reason, there's a higher percentage of guys that are influenced by these factors when compared to the ladies, and that reason eludes me. Maybe guys just care more about playing as somebody that they find physically attractive. Or maybe since many games that only have a single character choice feature a male protagonist, this causes a lot of guys to choose to play as a woman when given the chance, thus causing the difference. Or maybe it's something else entirely, or a combination of all the reasons. Let me know what you think. Okay, now that is everything on why a guy may choose to play as a gal digitally. I hope you learned something and know that it's more than okay to play as whatever gender you want to online for whatever reason. If you liked the video, remember to like, subscribe, and hype the video. These plugs are just getting longer and longer and I hate it. Oh, and comment any other video suggestions down below. The next video is either going to be about Night City, GTA, or Spore. I usually hold polls to, gauge interest on what video ideas there are, so look out for those. But until next time, I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of the day, and stay awesome, y'all.
Ja, war gut aufgearbeitet. Wobei man jetzt sagen muss, die Gründe sind unterschiedlich. Sie sind weitreichend, man hätte sie sich auch denken können, aber war schön aufgearbeitet, ja. Hat er gut gemacht.